A new fight video just dropped online, and fans think it.
Oh, girl,
A new
fucking.
fight video just dropped online, and fans think it shows Drake's affiliates getting into it with Kendrick Lamar and his crew. This happens right after Kendrick Lamar pulls off to Drake's city, performing Not Like Us, right in Drake's backyard in Toronto. Now the footage is sparking major drama across Toronto, and fans are taking sides quick. Let's break down exactly what happened and why this beef might have just crossed the line. Kendrick crashes Drake's spot. Picture this scenario. You're the king of your hood, right? Every block knows your name. Every corner store plays your music. Every homie in the neighborhood got your back through thick and thin. Now imagine your biggest enemy, your most bitter op, rolling up to your turf and straight up embarrassing you in front of your own people. That's exactly what happened when Kendrick Lamar stepped into Toronto and delivered the most soul-crushing, ego-destroying performance in rap battle history. On June 12th, 2025, Kendrick Lamar took that stage at Toronto's Rogers Center. And y'all need to understand something crucial here. This venue is significant because Drake has never actually done a full tour show at the stadium. Let that marinate for a hot minute. Kendrick pulled up to a spot that Drake, the supposed king of Toronto, never even conquered. This wasn't just performing in enemy territory. This was claiming real estate that the so-called owner never even touched. That's some next level chess moves right there. Now here's where this story gets absolutely bonkers, fam. The crowd reaction was straight fire, with fans giving Kendrick a 2-minute standing ovation after he performed Not Like Us, which, for those who've been sleeping, is the track that basically destroyed Drake's whole reputation. But check this out. This wasn't just some polite golf claps from confused folks. Nah, bruh. These Toronto heads, Drake's supposed day ones, his ride or die supporters, were going absolutely crazy for a song that basically called their hometown hero everything but a child of God. Think about the pure, unfiltered talent it takes to walk into somebody's hood and have their own people singing along to your diss track about their local legend. Social media was going nuts with attendees posting about their utter shock and disbelief at how the audience was asking for encores of a song dissing Drake. This wasn't just a concert, family. This was a public execution, with Drake's own people cheering for the executioner. Then things got even messier. Footage started circulating online of what looked like a squabble turning into a full-blown fight. Fans say it shows Drake's affiliates getting into it with Kendrick's people. But before we unpack that clip, let's rewind and break down how we got to this level of absolute savagery. The Drake-Kendrick beef started way back in 2013 with Kendrick's verse on Big Sean's Control, where he called out Drake and mad other rappers. What Kendrick called friendly competition was really him throwing down the gauntlet and challenging every rapper to step their game up or get left behind. But this wasn't your average rap beef. This was some generational warfare that's been brewing for over a decade. The real explosion happened in 2024 when Kendrick hopped on Future and Metro Boomin's Like That and basically said, forget a big three in hip hop. It's just Big Him. That line hit different. Real talk. Kendrick wasn't playing patty cake anymore. He was straight up telling Drake and J. Cole that they could keep that friendship bracelet energy because he was coming for the crown. Solo dolo. What happened next was a whole series of diss tracks throughout 2024, including Kendrick's Not Like Us, which had some serious allegations about Drake's character. This track became the nuclear bomb that Kendrick would eventually drop right in Drake's backyard. We're not talking about typical rap beef bars here. This was character assassination with surgical precision. Fast forward to that legendary night in Toronto. You had thousands of people, many rocking OVO gear. Many who probably got Drake tatted on their body, singing every single word of Not Like Us like it was their favorite gospel song.
Guys here to watch Kendrick Lamar?
No. Absolutely no. We just came to see like Drake's fan over here. Yeah.
The irony was thick as molasses, my dudes. You had folks hoping to hear Drake tracks at a Kendrick show where Kendrick was literally tearing Drake's reputation to shreds. But here's what made it even more wild. You could see dedicated Drake supporters, people wearing his merch, people who clearly been riding with him for years, still choosing to show up and support Kendrick after the most brutal rap battle.
He like kids.
One person on social media captured it perfectly, noting that the crowd wasn't just not booing, they were singing along, asking for encores in the stadium Drake never even played. Another observer described it as a stadium full of Torontonians screaming the diss track, calling it CRAZY. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. This was witnessing a cultural power shift happening live and in color. But peep this, the build-up to this moment was orchestrated like a master criminal planning the perfect heist. Kendrick's performance of Not Like Us at the Super Bowl 59 halftime show on February 9th, 2025, had already turned the song into a worldwide anthem that went way beyond just rap beef. The track became a movement, a rallying cry, a statement that reached every corner of the globe. The genius of Kendrick's Toronto takeover wasn't just in the balls it took to perform the song. It was the timing, the venue selection, the complete mind games aspect of the whole operation. He didn't just perform in Drake's city. He performed at a venue that represented Drake's missed opportunities. He didn't just sing the song. He had thousands of Drake's own supporters singing it back with the energy of a Sunday morning church service. Security was heavy as hell, with extra police presence outside the Rogers Center, but the crowd stayed peaceful throughout the whole spectacle.
Yeah, cause
So, where did this fight
that
footage
weird
come from
shit.
if everything was chill? Well, fans were right about one thing. The people in the clip are Drake's affiliates. But here's the twist. They weren't fighting Kendrick. They were going at it with someone no one expected. When the streets got involved. On June 30th, 2024, at the Ignite Music Festival in Vancouver, Canada, the hip-hop world witnessed something that would have seemed impossible just a few years back. Rick Ross got jumped by Drake's supporters after he played Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. This wasn't just some random scuffle between drunk fans. This was organized violence that showed just how deep the loyalty to Drake runs in his home country, and how far some folks were willing to ride for their hometown king. Let's break down exactly what went down that night, because the details read like something straight out of a hood movie. Rick Ross, a certified veteran of this rap game, somebody who's been through every type of beef and street drama you can imagine, had made the decision to throw his weight behind Kendrick Lamar in this war. Back on April 13th, 2024, Ross dropped Champagne Moments, a diss track where he accused Drake of getting plastic surgery and questioned his credibility in the culture. This was Ross responding to Drake taking shots at him on push-ups, but Ross didn't stop there. In what might be one of the most provocative moves in recent hip-hop history, Ross decided to end his Vancouver show by playing Kendrick's Not Like Us. Think about this move for a second, family. He's in Canada, Drake's territory, performing for a crowd that's probably got mad Drake loyalists, and he chooses to close out his set with the most devastating Drake diss track ever created. That's like walking into somebody's neighborhood and talking about their mama on the loudspeaker. Video footage shows a dude punching Ross in the face, followed by a whole brawl involving Ross's crew and festival attendees. But here's the real tea. This attack wasn't spontaneous. Social media captured the whole thing, with one user noting that the fight started when somebody yelled, "Turn that off, wanna bang out," as the song was playing. This wasn't random violence. This was premeditated confrontation, triggered by musical loyalty, turning into street politics. Now, this is where Rick Ross showed the veteran savvy that's kept him relevant in these streets for decades. Instead of escalating the beef or playing victim, Ross downplayed the whole incident, telling TMZ that nobody on his team got seriously hurt, and calling Vancouver a beautiful city he was looking forward to visiting again. This response was pure psychological warfare. By brushing off the attack, he basically said Drake's supporters weren't even worth getting upset about. But Ross took it even further. In a later interview, he broke down exactly what really happened that night, with the kind of detail that showed he wasn't shook at all.
Hey man, I'm thinking about the event that happened over there. Let me tell you something. When the first dude stepped up to Rose, the little short fat one that looked like Bam Bam Bigelow from wrestling, when he stepped up, and then I squat down in his eyes and told him what I said. Basically, boy, if I hit you, I'ma see everything you ate for the last 2 days. His balls dropped out of his. He never said another word.
The level of disrespect Ross was serving painted a picture of somebody who wasn't intimidated or rattled by the whole situation. In fact, he seemed almost entertained by it all, describing his attackers in ways that suggested he never took them seriously as any kind of threat. This wasn't just about physical confrontation. This was about mental dominance, about showing that even when outnumbered and jumped, he kept his composure and his boss mentality.
And then I got hit with a drink. I'm still convinced ain't no punch. Somebody said, Rose tried to punch you. He hit you. I say, nah. He had to throw a drink, because throwing a drink would have been way more disrespectful than screaming, "Hello, MMA!"
This response from Ross was pure genius level troll, real talk. He basically said his attackers were so weak, so ineffective, that they couldn't even properly jump him. By claiming he got hit with a drink instead of punched, he was straight up emasculating them and making them look like amateurs while making himself look untouchable. This wasn't damage control. This was turning a potential L into a victory lap. But the Vancouver incident was just the beginning when it came to real-world consequences of this beef. Drake seemingly co-signed the attack by liking an Instagram post about the incident, which included a warning not to come to Canada if you had issues with Drake. This wasn't just sitting back and watching the drama unfold. This was actively encouraging violence against his ops. The implications of Drake's social media moves were wild as hell. Here was one of the biggest artists on the planet, basically giving his stamp of approval to fans who physically attacked another rapper for playing a song. He also posted Instagram stories laughing and saying Happy Canada Day, which everybody interpreted as him celebrating Ross getting jumped. The timing wasn't a coincidence.
Which
This
he
was
didn't
Drake's
get
way of
jumped.
celebrating his fans, defending his honor through
Dumbass.
street justice. The whole incident blew up social media, with posts highlighting fan loyalty to Drake and pointing out the irony of Ross getting attacked in Canada. The narrative that came out wasn't just about the physical altercation, it was about territory, about loyalty, about how far people would go to defend their musical heroes. Other rappers started commenting on the situation, with 50 Cent making jokes about Ross's safety, which added another layer of disrespect to an already humiliating situation for Ross. The hip-hop community's response showed the deep divisions this beef had created, with artists picking sides and using every opportunity to score points against their perceived enemies. But maybe the most revealing part of the whole Vancouver situation was how it demonstrated the real-world power of music to inspire action, both positive and negative. The attack on Rick Ross by Drake's fans was directly triggered by his support for Kendrick Lamar and his decision to play Not Like Us in Vancouver. This wasn't just entertainment anymore. This was about identity, about belonging, about defending something that people felt was sacred and under attack. The incident also highlighted the intense loyalty within hip-hop fan bases and how musical rivalries can have real-world consequences. When artists create music that becomes deeply personal to their audience, when they build relationships that feel like family bonds, when they represent something bigger than just entertainment, the stakes become way higher than just chart positions and award shows. The industry politics and street verdict, the violent eruption of Vancouver, and Kendrick's hostile takeover of Toronto were just the most visible signs of a much deeper transformation that was reshaping the entire landscape of hip-hop culture, my people. What we were witnessing wasn't just beef between two rappers. This was a fundamental shift in street politics, a reckoning with what's real versus what's fabricated, and a demonstration of how social media and streaming platforms could amplify conflicts to levels nobody had ever seen before. The aftermath of these events sent shockwaves through the industry that are still rippling today. Artists, executives, fans, and critics were forced to face some uncomfortable truths about loyalty, violence, artistic merit, and the responsibility that comes with having influence in the streets and the culture. One of the most insightful breakdowns of the whole situation came from Wack 100, whose analysis of Kendrick's Grammy domination perfectly captured the industry politics and street dynamics at play.
Well, Kendrick won 5 Grammys for Not Like Us, more than any rapper has ever won in a single night. Now, he doesn't have the most Grammys of any rapper. Things like Jay-Z and Kanye still has more Grammys than him, but he sweeps.
And I'm going to be real, not to say Kendrick didn't earn every last one of those. But I really believe, and walk with me, Vlad, I really believe that the Drake factor and the things he's doing, it's not hurting Kendrick, it's hurting itself, it's elevating Kendrick.
This observation was absolutely crucial to understanding the power moves happening behind the scenes. Kendrick's Grammy sweep with Not Like Us, winning Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and 3 other categories, wasn't just about the quality of the music. It was about the industry making a clear statement about which artists they were backing in this war.
Walk with me. When he dropped his album back in November, he was slated on pace to do 220, 230. 3-4 days into the 7-day time span, Drake drops the lawsuit. By the time we get to day 7, the 220, 230 number goes to 319, 320. Because that forced light on that.
The brilliance of Wack 100's analysis was recognizing that Drake's legal moves against Universal Music Group were actually backfiring harder than a broken engine. Drake filed multiple lawsuits against UMG, claiming they artificially inflated streams of Not Like Us and engaged in defamation. But instead of helping his case, these legal maneuvers were drawing even more attention to Kendrick's success and making Drake look desperate and petty in the streets.
Now, he goes at UMG. He releases a song. Ordinarily, UMG just puts ESP to it, catches the song, and continue to push it. This time, pull it down. Contractually, you're supposed to submit it 10 to 21 days, blah, right? Now, I believe Kendrick earned all those Grammys wholeheartedly. But I think if Drake wasn't doing the things he was doing, he might have would have won 3.
The industry politics were becoming more transparent than a broke dealer's stash. Universal Music Group, the label that represents both artists, was clearly picking sides, and their choice was becoming more obvious with each passing day. The decision to limit Drake's releases while pushing Kendrick's success was sending a clear message about which artist they viewed as their golden child.
That high five between Dr. Dre and Lucent.
Mm.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like, hey, we're daddy. We're gonna do what we want to do. You ain't running nothing.
Right.
It's just real. You know, it's real talk. You know what I'm saying? I think Drake he's pushing the Kendrick train another 5 or 10 miles per hour than it would normally be going because of what he's doing. Anything he does, he's a superstar, right? The light go, okay, what is that? What is that about? That's tied to what? That, okay.
This moment that Whack 100 referenced, the high five between Dr. Dre and a UMG executive, was symbolic of something much bigger in the culture. It represented the OGs of hip-hop, the West Coast legends, the people who built the foundation of this whole culture, showing their support for Kendrick and basically dismissing Drake's complaints and legal moves as the tantrum of somebody who couldn't accept an L like a man. The psychological warfare aspect of this whole situation was becoming more sophisticated than a chess grandmaster's endgame. Every move Drake made to defend himself or attack Kendrick was being flipped and used as ammunition to further boost Kendrick's status while damaging Drake's street credibility. It was like watching somebody caught in quicksand. The harder they struggled, the deeper they sank.
Oh, and now it pushes Kendrick even more.
Mhm.
So, you know, I don't know where we going from here. They gonna stop. We got a tour, stadium tour coming up, right?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna stop. The bleed ain't gonna stop.
This prediction proved to be more accurate than a GPS in downtown Manhattan. Kendrick's momentum wasn't just continuing, it was accelerating with each passing month like a freight train with no brakes. His tour announcements, his continued Grammy success, his Super Bowl performance, everything was building on everything else, creating a snowball effect of cultural dominance that seemed unstoppable. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this whole saga was how it revealed the different approaches artists take when faced with street-level adversity. DJ Academics, who had been covering the beef from day one and had serious skin in the game, provided some crucial insight into Kendrick's strategic thinking during the battle.
When you heard that, what'd you think?
Kendrick said that on 616.
Yes.
The moment he said that, I said, there are certain moments. I remember when Eminem name dropped me and I was like,
What did Eminem say?
I can't remember what record. I feel like I'm not remembering it. When Drake put me on the record, the Push-Ups record, I was like, oh.
The fact that Kendrick mentioned DJ Academics in his diss track 616 in LA was a masterclass in psychological warfare that would make military strategists take notes.
And all he says is, he said, I could even see the vibes on Ack. Even he looked compromised. And I'm like, that's like a fire shout out. Now, I take that as a shout out.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll say to Kendrick. I appreciate it was the most modest. I know people believe that was but I still don't even think that's
Kendrick's approach was surgical in its precision, like a street surgeon operating with a rusty knife but perfect technique. Instead of going at Academics directly, he simply observed that the popular media personality looked compromised because of his obvious bias toward Drake. This wasn't just an observation, it was a strategic move designed to neutralize one of Drake's most vocal supporters by making any future commentary suspect in the streets.
You know what I did for Kendrick? Everything I said after that, they were like, God, right, shut up. It neutralized me. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is.
This admission from DJ Academics was more revealing than a police interrogation. With just a few words, Kendrick had effectively silenced one of the most influential voices in hip-hop media. Every time Academics tried to defend Drake or criticize Kendrick after that mention, fans in the comments would point back to Kendrick's compromised comment, undermining his credibility and reducing his effectiveness as a Drake advocate. The strategic brilliance of this move couldn't be overstated. Real talk. Kendrick wasn't just battling Drake, he was systematically dismantling Drake's entire support network, neutralizing his allies, and isolating him from the people and platforms that had helped build his career. This wasn't just rap beef, this was warfare conducted with the precision of a military operation and the ruthlessness of street politics.
You know what's crazy? When Like That dropped, I'm like, yo, what is this guy doing? He's not like that.
Yeah.
By the end of the battle, I was like, God damn it, why didn't y'all tell me he was like that? This guy, he's pretty good, man.
Even Academics, who had been skeptical of Kendrick's ability to match
That's what
Drake's
you get. We
commercial
already know
appeal on
you.
social media
You
sat,
a fruity
was
truth
forced to
too,
acknowledge
fucker.
the devastating effectiveness of Kendrick's
We don't
approach.
touch.
This
We
wasn't
ain't gonna
just
say
about
what you
making
saying,
moves.
the
This
kid.
was about understanding power
Academics.
dynamics, media manipulation,
Freak.
and psychological warfare at the highest level
Yeah, you
possible.
nerd
The
to
broader
me.
implications of this beef extended
you
far
fucking
beyond
nerd.
just these two
Comment.
artists' fans. The conflict
Fuck, boy.
involved multiple artists taking sides, with some supporting Drake, others backing Lamar, and some criticizing the feud's intensity. The hip-hop community was being forced to choose sides, and those choices were revealing deep divisions about authenticity, commercial success, artistic merit, and and cultural values. Artists like Birdman and 50 Cent threw their support behind Drake, while Metro Boomin, Kanye West, and Rick Ross backed Lamar. Meanwhile, others like J. Cole initially jumped in, but later apologized and backed out, while artists like Ice Cube and Stevie Wonder criticized the feud for its intensity or for overshadowing global issues. What we've witnessed over the past year isn't just beef between two rappers. It's a masterpiece of strategic thinking, psychological warfare, cultural manipulation, and artistic excellence that will be studied and